discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the June 30th, 1997 edition of Raw is War, and the match card is as follows. In our opening match, we had Ken Shamrock taking on Hearst Helmsley with Chyna. In our next match, we have a tag team tournament semifinal match between the Nation of Domination and the Legion of Doom. Brian Christopher takes on Scott Putski in a light heavyweight division matchup. The Hart Foundation takes on the Headbangers in another tag team tournament semifinal match. Rockabilly takes on Vader, sort of. And in our main event, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin taking on Jim Neidhart. Hello. If you are new here, my name is Xavier Cruz. I am not so new to wrestling, and this is my co-host Kelsey Silva. She is the new and new to wrestling. How are we doing?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm good. How are we reeling from this one? Big reveals. We've been chasing this dragon for a minute now.
I swear, I feel like I'm in a state of shock. Like it's not settled over me yet. Like I'm kind of just like, because it was like a lot. Sorry, if you're only listening, I just like bugged out my eyes. But like it was like a lot of information to intake. Like I feel like I'm gonna be laying in bed tonight like this, like
trying to process it all. Yeah.
Like I'm parsing through it. Though I will say I was right.
You were right.
Kind of, in a way.
No, you like called it like so early on, and I was just like, I can't say anything because it's way too early for this.
But also, I feel like I knew it's not like I called it based off of context. Like I kind of remembered that was a thing, but we'll get into it. But I kind of feel like a little on stupid time right now, where I'm just like, I don't even know how to
process all of this.
I'm like really, I'm on dummy time for real. So hopefully I like come back to myself at some point, but pending, I don't know.
All right. Crazy. Well, on the note of the big secret reveal, the show opens up with a kind of like a history of the Undertaker and Paul Bearer.
I will say calling Paul Bearer the brains of the operation is crazy. Wouldn't have been
something. Yeah, it's definitely a choice. And yeah, so you basically just get like the tales of two peas in a pod up to a certain point. Basically, like it was great until it wasn't.
Judas. I'll never recover from that. That was so shocking to me.
I know, but what a great way to introduce Mankind, you know?
It's very true. It's very true. But like I'll never forget.
No, truly. So basically we go into like their whole history, how they like debuted in the WWF at Survivor Series in like 1990, how they basically like were taking on all of the top contenders in the WWF during like the end of the golden era. So Paul Bearer was by the Undertaker's side for his like first WWF championship and like all of these things. And then it all goes south once Paul Bearer turns on the Undertaker in favor of Mankind, and truly like a fair weather friend. We've already moved on from there.
I was just gonna say like that. What a crazy betrayal to just cast this person off. That you literally betrayed a friend of 20 years,
right?
For this person that you literally just there wasn't even like a. And we're done now. Just a literal, like, I kind of forgot you were here.
Right.
That is crazy. I was like,
right.
Betraying your bestie for 20 years for something mid is crazy. And not that Mankind's mid, but I mean like the energy. Yes. Yes. Is really psychotic.
It's really, really a choice.
So again, the brain's crazy.
Right.
Anyway.
the crazy, sure. Brains is generous. So that takes us into our first match, which is Shamrock taking on Hearst Helmsley with Chyna. We know that this is the last stop before Canadian Stampede, so we're gonna see people that have matches on Canadian Stampede. So Hunter will be taking on Mankind at the pay-per-view, and Shamrock is part of that big 10-man Hart Foundation challenge. We get a pre-match promo from Triple H. It's very short, sweet, to the point. He's
I
basically
love
just
it
like, I'm
though.
not coming alone, like I'm bringing. And then like Chyna like flexes into the camera. She's like, the world's most dangerous woman, as a play on words for the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. And I was like, honestly, kind of scared of Chyna. So
Swear.
yeah.
Loved it.
So again, more of Ket and Ken out into the world. I think um we're just trying to get his reps in. We need to see him more. We need to
Yes,
like see what he
yes,
can do
yes.
against different people. So this time we're up against Hunter. Ken is in the beginning of the match, basically, as we've seen in what has been a pattern in his matches thus far, is that it's kind of like he comes out wrestles his opponents for the beginning part of the match. Then he hits like an inexperienced wall, and then the match progresses from there. Um,
Right, right.
yeah, well, thus far. Again,
Yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah,
still
yeah.
learning him. Um, I have a moment that just says Earl pulling Triple H's hair to get him out of the corner. So Triple H is like gets Triple H gets real physical with Earl all of the time. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but he has no qualms about like pushing Earl out of the way, like knocking him aside, like none, does not care.
But
So
also like in the reverse, like Earl also doesn't really care. Like Earl will get so physical with him too, which I like
right.
it.
And
I like
it's
it.
funny that this like starts all the way back because it goes on for like ever.
Oh
It
my
go
God, really?
Yeah, it's like a just like a reoccurring thing. Like, and I think it's just because like they both have fun with it. But
Mm-hmm.
like Earl don't play no games with Hunter. No, he does not.
And I love that
um
because he's not one to be playing games with.
no, absolutely not. And uh other highlight of the match is when Chyna throws Ken Shamrock, who's been thrown outside by Hunter, while Hunter like distracts the referee. Chyna goes and throws Ken Shamrock with such force into the ring steps that the ring steps just like obliterate. They just like
Yeah, like literally
explode.
it's like it's like that. Oh my God. There was like a GIF that I used to use all the time. It was a somebody took a clip of the Power Rangers and it's like one Power Ranger like kicking somebody and they
Mhm.
literally like turn immediately to dust. Do you know
Oh
what
my
I'm
god,
talking about?
so true. Yes,
It's
yes,
like they
yes.
hit the ground and then they go like they just
Yeah,
turn.
or oh, you know what it made me just think of? You ever
I
play
feel
like
like I know what
Lego
you're gonna say.
Star Wars?
No.
Oh my God. And Lego anything, any of them. They're the best. Whenever you like defeat like like whoever it is, you're like the Legos just like pop, like
They just
explode. Yeah, and then there's
surf.
just like Lego pieces kind of like spilt all over the floor.
Oh, that makes complete sense because
Mhm,
they're
mhm.
made of Legos. Wow,
Right. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that actually.
Yeah, it feels like that. Like that's what happened to the ring steps. It's just like
No, for
and
sure.
then
They
there was
just
just like
became the sum of its parts.
right.
Like or the parts of the sum, whatever. But
Yeah, I know what you mean.
the
I know what you
reverse.
mean. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, no, I literally wrote China chucked Ken into the ring steps. Like she
Chucked.
yeeted him
Mm-hmm.
so hard.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Crazy.
So Mankind comes down to the ring, down like basically just down the ring ramp, and it's just being a distraction just based on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's of course just trying to get into the head of Hunter. We love to see it. It's enough to allow Ken Shamrock to suplex Hunter Hearst Helmsley and get the victory, which we love to see. Love to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next we are I guess blessed with an Ahmed Johnson joining the nation recap, which was fine. We if you've been watching, you knew how he get here. He was getting his ass handed to him by the nation. Farouk fires old nation members, brings in Ahmed and Kama. So
Hmm.
what happens like next is like we get like an interview with Ahmed Johnson from like a hospital bed, but like for some reason he's like in his like home pajamas. It like looks
Yeah,
like
I
open, and he's like on the fainting couch like giving us this promo, and we're like, are you at the hospital? Like, what's happening? Because like we didn't know that he got hurt, like, and it doesn't look like a hospital. And like, why are you just like, not gonna lie, like a little sexily like giving us this like fainting
No, it
couch
was
moment? Like, what's
weird.
happening?
It was really weird. It almost like if you had told me it was a set, like it was not a real hospital, like they just constructed I would
Right.
be like, well, yeah, absolutely, that's what they did. Like
No, absolutely.
it
I
was
was
like a
like,
white, just a plain white room, plain white bed, and then
I was
Ahmed in
like,
like blue, a
is this
blue
a
like
very different
vest
kind of
pajama.
hospital? Like, I don't know.
It was so weird. And also like because he was laying down, like the camera angle just like over him, and he was just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
giving his promo, like laying on his back. Like, I don't know. It was so weird. Like,
right.
maybe just have Farouk say something on your behalf. Like, I don't know. I don't think we
Honestly,
need to be at bedside with you.
right.
I appreciate your trust, but
And I
like
get it.
maybe
Like
just
when you brought us home because you're like your kidneys
your
exploded,
kidney
like we got it. Understood.
exploded.
Got it.
Yeah.
Um, but first of all, like now he's injured again, so bye. I guess we'll see you on the flip side. And
Yeah.
two, it's weird because then he just starts like theorizing. So he's like, it's ju- he addresses the who are they? DOA, the descendants of
The
the
disciples
apocalypse.
of the
That's whatever
apocalypse.
it is.
Every time I'm gonna come say something different every time, like the
Because
disciples of anarchists,
it's so
the demons of the antichrist. Like I'm
it's
just gonna
so
keep doing
generic,
new
like you
ones.
could just replace it with anything.
Anything.
It just feels like I don't know, words you'd see like written on a tattoo shop wall, like anything.
Yeah, like a flash tattoo, totally. But like I'm gonna say it's gonna start getting more outlandish, and I'm not gonna correct myself. Like I'm gonna
No,
be like, the darlings of Anaheim,
right,
like
right.
the just
It's gonna be like that
anything.
when the pandemic just became any word that started with P, and we were just like, yeah,
Oh
sure.
my God. Or like Corona. Now we call it like the Ronita. Like
Right,
it's dissolved so far, but yeah, it's gonna
right,
be
right,
like
right.
the diamonds of Arkansas. Like I'm just
Right,
for
right. It
no
doesn't
just
matter. Doesn't
yeah.
matter. So he addresses them and he's like, who cares? And basically he's like, when I come back, it's gonna be bad news for the Undertaker. And they're just like, sure.
Okay.
Right, because
Again, it's
Ahmed
like
Johnson
when
was
I come
supposed to
back.
be the challenger for the Undertaker at this pay-per-view, but will no longer be doing that due to injury. So more on the Nation later. Next we get a debuting Michael Cole. Michael Cole is like the voice of the WWE now. He calls whatever the highest rated show of WWE is at the time, he's calling that. He for
Oh
right now,
wow.
essentially. So it's kind of funny just to see little baby Michael Cole just kind of like starting out his career in the WWE. I love the interactions later on between The Rock and Michael Cole
Ooh.
because The Rock is ruthless and I love it.
Love that.
Um so he is interviewing the Legion of Doom, and basically they're kind of going on about like the tag team tournament, and they're like, nobody's actually like beating us like fair square. Like, no one can just get the job done from ding ding to ding ding.
And
Um,
period. And
right.
what?
And so that was Animal speaking, and then Hawk speaks, and he's like, well, and you're like, oh god, here it goes. And
Hey.
then it's followed by just like some ridiculousness. Do you have what he wrote down, like what he said? It was something about like bat
He said, you're
something.
going to be nothing but a pile of bat, guano, and other assorted animal excrement. I didn't even write that down. It just burned itself into my
Right.
brain. I
Yeah.
immediately, and I was just like,
Yeah,
and
totally.
I was like, you know what? They're nothing if not on brand.
Right.
It's always short, sweet, and absolutely insane.
Right. Mm-hmm,
It's the
mm-hmm.
craziest thing that makes absolutely no sense. Like when they said something about like I'm gonna knock his teeth out of his mouth and they're gonna come out of your ass or like whatever he
Right.
said, and we were like, how physically
Right.
does that? It's the same thing every time where I'm like, I don't really know what you mean, but I know how it felt for me to receive
Right.
it, and
Right.
I'm
Right.
here.
They may not
I'm
remember what
present.
you say, but they'll remember how
Remember
you
how you
made them
made them
feel.
feel?
That's how I feel about the Legion of Doom, not
And
gonna lie.
amen and period. The end.
Love that. Love that.
That's so funny.
So this match is I lied. We're not even in the match yet. I'm
I was gonna say
I'm getting
because
ahead of myself.
yeah.
So next we have the I guess $1 million SummerSlam chance kind of promo. It's essentially just a shot of some money in Sunny's tits,
Literally
and
Sunny
that's
with
that.
just like a bunch of singles in her tits. And I was like, how I literally keep going every time I see her. I'm like, blink twice if you're in there, baby girl.
Right.
Blink twice. Let me know you're okay. And it's just
Right.
I just
Mm-hmm.
with the money in her tits, and then she just takes it out. And like, do I love to see money in women's tits? Of course I do. I'm not
Right.
crazy, but
Right.
it's just it's we know. It's
We
the
know
idea of it. It's it's the whole vibe around it because it's not like she's anything other than
that right
what
now.
that is. Yeah.
Right.
And then she's just money and they're like, and Vince is laughing in his creepy laugh, and I just hate it. I want to just swallow my own tongue. It's
I get
awful.
it. I get it. So next we have the Nation of Domination taking on the Legion of Doom in the tag team tournament semifinals. And the Godwins are watching from the stage. The Godwins took on the Legion of Doom last week, and they were trying to get their revenge for Henry Godwin's neck, which they
Oh,
replayed again because
stop. Please.
I'm starting to think it's just like a gotcha thing now. Like they're just trying to catch you at like the most off guard moment with
Yep.
that. It's like
Yep.
ridiculousness, but worse.
But worse. And they got me today. I was like, what's this? And I was like, ow, damn it.
Right. No,
Stop
fully.
showing me
I was like,
this.
I don't need this any I know he broke his neck. I know.
I
At this
get
point, I
it.
have seen it like at least 6 times. I'm
More than
okay.
that.
I'm okay.
More than that. They played it 6 times just last week.
You're absolutely correct.
Oh, and
You're
from
absolutely
every
correct.
angle, I'm telling you, they're waterboarding us with it. I can't take it anymore.
Terrible.
I
Terrible.
understand they have beef. They don't do this for anybody else. It's like Ahmed Johnson and Undertaker, we know they have beef. You don't have, they show the Pro River Plunge like one time and then
Mm-hmm.
they moved along. I don't need to see Henry's neck break 16 times every
Right.
week.
I'm okay. Like
Please.
we can move on. We
We
as
can and we should.
right.
We can
Right.
and we should and we shall please.
At one point, JR calls the Legion of Doom's finisher the devastation device, and I love
Or
that. I think we're just
it's
gonna just
so
call it
funny.
whatever we want. I think there's
Whatever
just
we
no
want.
rules.
I also love that it's called the Doomsday device because they're the Legion of Doom.
Right.
It's like use the test to take the test. It's right there.
Fully,
But
fully,
also he
fully,
said the
fully.
devastation device, and then I second guessed myself. I was like,
Is that
wait a
what it
minute.
is?
I was
And
like,
like, have I been saying it wrong this whole
again, me,
time?
new to wrestling. I was like, oh,
Right.
wait a minute. Is
Um,
it that? And then I was like, no, no,
right.
no,
Right.
no, no.
So Henry Godwin, of course, comes in and slop buckets the Hawk in the back of the head while he's attempting a pin, which allows Farouk to pick up the victory instead. So the Nation of Domination is going to move on to the finals of the tag team tournament match.
Mm.
And the Legion of Doom chase the Godwins out of the building. They said, excuse me.
What I love about the Legion of Doom is that they don't often marinate on losing a match if someone else interfered. They immediately go after the person who interfered because they were like, well, they were the problem. You
Right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right, right.
Like if they lose, sometimes they'll stand there and be like, what the hey? But other times
Right,
most of the time, they just immediately go, oh, it was you? Okay. And then they
right.
immediately gets on site. And
Yeah.
I love and respect that about
Yeah, they
them.
have like a quick like onus. Like they know like
Yeah, the
where
heat seeking immediately turns to the next
right.
target, and I respect it. I'm really into
That
that.
turnaround is pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie.
Again,
So
I really could learn a lot from them.
never let an enemy slip by you again.
Yes. Never again.
um
Never.
so after the match, the Nation of Domination who's left in the ring is basically just yelling at Vince McMahon to get his ass in the ring, and they're like get in
Get
here.
in here, boo.
We got questions for
We got
you.
grievances to air.
Farouk and the Nation are basically pissed that a member of the Nation isn't getting a title shot instead of Ahmed Johnson. So we find out that Vader is going to be challenging the Undertaker for the WWF Championship. I mean, we've seen this before. But I guess it kind of makes sense because Vader is Paul's thing, even though we just I know, for lack of a better word.
It's his thing. I don't know.
It's his thing, his hobby, his muscle, his bubba,
whatever.
whatever he wants to call him. And but even then, that was only reestablished really last week. So I
So
mean, like, I guess
true.
if you're going from like a story line point, I guess Vader makes sense, but like, does it?
It really doesn't, to be honest. And
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if like it's hard to say because I don't know if the nation necessarily makes sense either, but it makes more sense to me than Vader, in
Right.
my opinion.
Right. Well, because of we had like the seeds planted for that already. Like we had
Yeah.
that like kind of in motion. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I was like, sure. So we kind of
Yeah.
already know how that's gonna go. So it's like,
Right.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
And I
it's random, like it's how it's gonna go.
and
Like,
it kind of just feels like they did that to continue exposing Paul Bearer to the Undertaker versus like
mm-hmm.
we actually want to see Vader and Undertaker wrestle. It's like
Right,
this is an opportunity for us to just put those two together again,
right.
which makes sense storyline
But I
kind of.
don't
But
think you
yeah, I
need
don't.
it. Like,
No, I agree. You
because
really don't. You really
they
don't.
already have plenty, especially after tonight, to be put in each other's paths, you know? Uh,
Very true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so and then Farouk just starts like theorizing that like the disciples of the apocalypse, yes, are working for the Undertaker, which is just based
Yes.
on like absolutely nothing. And it's
Not a
just like
thing.
I was just like, what in the Donald Trump connections are you making?
Swear to God, because they're
Just making
tall.
stuff up. Like you're you're just like, okay, sure, sure,
It's like
sure.
he was like, they're both tall with long hair, they're white, and they wear a lot of leather. Clearly, they're in cahoots.
Right.
And it's
No,
like, again,
100%.
baby, step outside.
Yeah,
Do
I was
I
just
have news for you?
sometimes they just look the same.
They just look.
Like, um
Ah,
so yeah, so I don't think the DOA is working for the Undertaker.
that would be
And then
crazy.
Farouk is asked about the former members of the nation. And that's when Savio Vega comes back and he's dressed in all white. He's got his little tank on and his
Like
little
an
white
avenging
jeans.
angel, like as if
No,
he's risen
actually.
out from the depths of hell after he was like fraternizing with the people who were like they're wearing all black and he was like I am the antithesis. I am an angelic presence at the top of the ramp. It
Hmm.
was honestly like such a gag. Like I was like
So yeah. So basically he's like, you didn't fire me, I quit.
which
Not what happened, but
not what
it's
happened.
fine.
I was thinking that. I was like, okay, first of all, that happened 3 weeks ago. You can't suddenly if in the moment maybe like you can't fire me, I quit. But not
Sure.
3 weeks after the fact that
Maybe
you were fired.
now we're rewriting history and like
Now we're actually
no,
just lying
fully
on a mic in front
just
of
fully
lots of
lying.
people. But okay, sure.
No, yeah, exactly. And so he's like, basically, he's like, I'm gonna see you tonight to get revenge. Except for tonight is right now, and Sabi has a whole gang. He made it sound like there was gonna be like there was some mystery. This was gonna be like a teaser for your revenge. No, no,
No,
no, no,
he
right now.
whistled
And
and
if it's anything we know about Savi with the hands, it's gonna be now. It's gonna be
right now
now.
I'm gonna get it. We're gonna get it on right now, right now,
That's
right
what I'm
now.
saying. And so he busts out a whole his own gaggle of Puerto Ricans, I guess is the best way to put that. Also all dressed in all white so that we know. I love it. I love when they like just like color coordinate. I love it.
Yes, they
Um
said everyone wear all white and a black belt. Do the best
Yeah,
you can.
yeah, exactly.
So funny.
So Sabi's gang comes out, starts getting into it with the Nation of Domination, and then of course, not one to be left out, Crush and
Vroom, vroom.
the DOA arrive on bikes, which I think is always like hilarious when you're like coming to like enter a fight and
Yes.
you decide to like take a lap on your bike first. You know what I mean? Like there's like
No,
this like running
seriously.
meme of like Jeff Hardy, like when he comes to like save people, like does like some weird dance. Like he dances like when he comes out and like does his entrance anyway, but he'll like come out and like do a little like dance first and then like go save whoever he's supposed to save. And
Oh my God,
we're
work.
like
Get in there.
no, like this is
So
not the time or place for this. Someone actually needs help.
no, literally, and this is the has always been the defining difference between Savio Vega and Crush. Is
Mm,
Savio Vega does not mess in the slightest. He gets out there, he goes, "I got my people. Whistle, whistle, here they come. Let's fight." And then Crush is like, "I gotta come in and look cool, look
mm-hmm.
menacing, do a
Right,
little cute lap, flip my
right.
hair a bit,
Yeah,
and then I might get
100%.
in
You
there."
have expect like Crush, you have expect to see like leaning against the locker smoking a cigarette. You know, like
Absolutely, with the one leg up, like,
yeah, it's all for show. Like it's
yes,
all
he's
for
not even
show.
inhaling. He's just
No. Fake, fake.
fake. Oh my God,
Um,
so funny.
so then they get into like a three-way gang fight, essentially, is how we're
You
doing
know.
this. And I
Yeah.
love that we've just like essentially just like m made it like a race gang fight because we've now just separated the groups. We have
It's
the
it's
white
literally
gang.
West Side Story, except
We
with
have,
three groups instead of just two.
no, right. We have the Puerto Rican gang, the white gang, and the black gang, and we're just supposed to be like, "Yep, this is what we're doing. Like
That's what we're doing.
this is how we're drawing the battle lines." And we're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, okay, okay."
It is so crazy that they were like, what if we just split them all up into three separate gangs
Right.
and they all just do it is really if you really look at it from like a objective perspective, it's like, oh, I don't know. I
It-
don't know about this.
yeah, it does like venture into some like very lazy really overly relied upon I don't know.
Again, it's the West Side storyline,
Right.
except like there's gonna be have to be like a love triangle at some point between like
Oh my
Savio
God.
Vega, D-Lo, and a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. I will say
So
it
good.
was really funny. Pat Patterson came out to like break up the fight, and he basically looked like he was in Savio Vega's gang, which he tells us shortly after is the Boricuas.
Hmm.
But it's just except he was wearing gray pants, and Xavier, he cracked me up. He was like, it basically looked like he got the invite at the last minute. It was like, oh damn, I don't have white pants. I'll just wear the lightest pair of gray ones I
Right.
have and see if I blend in. Because he was even wearing like the skinny black belt, and I was like, Pat Patterson looks like he's in the Bariquas. Like,
No,
I don't
no,
know. It
100%.
just when he got the invite at the last minute.
It's like when you go out to eat and you're dressed like the server. It's like it's like like you're like I had no idea.
You
That's
just
so
get up and
crazy.
start singing happy birthday at the next table over because you're like, it looks like I'm supposed to be doing this. I don't
Exactly.
know.
Like for some reason you had whatever version that restaurant uses. Like
Yeah, right. Just at hand in your
oh,
knowledge.
so amazing.
Oh God.
So
Oh
the
Pat.
authorities show up, they separate this gang fight. And I guess we're gonna wait to see where that goes.
I also love that the authorities or the officers that they have look like straight up like TV movie cops. Like they don't they're yeah.
Right. It's like what's that one show my mother was obsessed with? With there was like two cops, one's his name Estrada.
Oh my God.
Pips?
I don't remember.
Oh,
Listen.
oh my God. But it just reminds me of that. But what cracked me up though is the police officer that was holding Crush back was just this one tiny woman with a nightstick. She is like not but 5'3" and is just like up here and just
Oh
holding
my
him back. And I'm just like,
women.
I just thought it was so funny because it's just like everybody else has like 16 grown ass men around them. And Crush, arguably the biggest one out of
Of
all of
them.
them, is getting posted up in the corner by this like tiny lady cop. I love her.
I love her. Go off, queen. She said, one lady cop with the personality of a chihuahua. Like,
No,
I am
100%.
keeping
She
you
don't know
back.
how small she is.
Swear. Oh my God. Love that. Go, girl.
Mm.
And Crush was like, and I will be restrained by you. What's up?
He said,
He's like, ooh,
he's like, oh no, don't touch me.
you got
Um,
me.
so next, Michael Cole is back with Savio. He introduces his group as Los Boricuas, and they're here to kick some ass.
And
Which
I
was
believe them.
basically the gist because it was. I was having some family like gathering flashbacks of just like
PTSD,
four
yes.
Puerto Rican men shouting like at the same time because they're all very excited about their point. But then it just becomes like just like a haze of Rican just and you're like, I don't
And you're like,
know.
is this Christmas? Did I forget?
No, 100%. I was like I don't know. They were all just talking at the same time, and I was like, I am 10 years old, and I am sitting on the couch just trying to process what's
Yeah, no,
happening.
I looked up at you
Like,
because I was like, I looked up at you to just like, see what's going on. And you were just like
no,
you were
like,
going through something. And I was like,
yo,
oh,
actually, I was
I
just
was
like,
like,
whoa.
okay, he was a child again.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So we'll see more on that. That takes us into a little like video package situation of Sunny doing a
Girl.
little photo shoot on the beach. Love to see it. But then the weird thing of it all is they give us these like paparazzi-esque photos, not taken by paparazzi, taken
Mm.
by the WWF,
By
of
like the
of
hired photographer.
correct. Of the photo shoot. Who's right? Okay. There's lots of holes in this, but it's fine.
Mm.
And so it's alluded to that her and Brian Pillman are like a thing because they were photographed like on the sly while she was at this like photo shoot, and I'm just like
Yeah.
weird and random, and also like if you hired a photographer to do a photo shoot
Mm.
and then they go and take all of these like unsolicited candid photos of the person they're supposed to be doing a
Mm-hmm.
photo shoot of, I'm pretty sure you get fired. Like I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. What was the gag of it is like they're like, yeah, Sunny's doing a bikini photo shoot and it's going so well for she's gonna be in the WWE magazine and like that she's doing a like an interview and a whole spread.
Right.
Um and instead they got these really like illicit pictures of her with Brian Pillman, so we're gonna use those instead. Could you imagine like you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be in the magazine and like they're gonna do this whole thing, and then instead it's like, just kidding. We got these contraband photos of you. Though you would hear from my attorney so quickly
And the
once I
way
found one.
it's crazy. And the way they're just like the WF is doing her so dirty. Like
Dirty
they
girl. Not
have
Brian
like
Pillman,
they have
girl.
publicly linked her to Brian Pillman, Bret Hart, Shawn
Shawn
Michaels, Chris
Michaels.
Candido, like which was, legitimate. But like still like and this is all on like WWF television. Like
Yeah, and she
they
had like the love thing with the Godwins and then Billy
Billy
Gunn.
and yeah,
Like
it's wow. Wow.
mm,
It's like
girl.
that can't be the only storyline she has. Like it can't I guess it can, but
Well, it is, but it
it shouldn't.
shouldn't be. Like
Like
the storyline for her is always like she's the manager of a tag team, but she ends up like accidentally like falling in love with one of the members, but then it goes sour and she like fires them.
right. And we've done
Yeah.
it like 3 times now.
Yeah. And I will say this, like I obviously the illicit photos with Brian Pillman are staged. Like we know this. We're not, and that was a farce. First of all, Brian Pillman, ew, would have picked literally anybody else. But
Mhm.
second, I kind of get why they would do this. Cause like
Mhm.
me, My vice is celebrity gossip. I've really been sober for a while now, but my vice is celebrity gossip. It's
Right.
horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, like, if you want to see the exclusive pictures, like, you have to buy the magazine. And maybe in my days of yore, and I didn't know that this was fake and staged because I'm at my big old age now,
Mm-hmm.
I might have been like, I gotta see. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get why they would
I
do
get
it, but
it.
I don't like it. Like, I still don't
Mm-hmm.
like it. It's icky to me.
It was definitely icky.
Icky me
Um,
icky.
so next we get a shot of Taker just deep in thought, just in the locker room with just like blue lighting. Nothing, he doesn't say anything. He's just thinking.
He just looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Kelsey really
Uh,
fell in love in this one. And
there was a
then
lot happening. Sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
there was a ton. And then we get a light heavyweight division match between Scott Putski, son of Ivan Putski, WWF legend, and then Brian Christopher, son of Jerry the King Lawler, supposedly. Um, I just love that Jerry's like, no, and then they stand in the ring next to each other. And then you're like,
They are the same.
I was like, you're the same height. You have the same face. It's
The
the
same
same
face,
face. You have the same body type,
same attitude, same
voice.
everything.
It is the same. I was like, that apple is right here.
It's right. It's right here. If
It's
if
right
if
at my feet. Like,
if
that's
I'm the
crazy.
tree, there's the apple.
Right.
It's
I was
right
like, that's
here.
nuts. Um, so we find out, yeah, so the light heavyweight division's 215 weight limit. Uh it's essentially just Jerry on commentary denying or not denying, not confirming that he is Brian Christopher's father. He goes in on Polish people because of
Oh.
Ivan Putski for like a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
You're just your stereotypes he leans into. Actually though, it was a competitive match between the two. It was like a back and forth for the most part until Jerry, of course, makes his way onto the ring apron. There's like a slight miscommunication between him um and Brian Christopher, and then it looks like Ivan Putski's gonna like take advantage of that miscommunication and do
Mm-hmm.
a move on Brian Christopher when Jerry gets up, trips Scott, and thus allows Brian Christopher to pick up the victory. Um yeah. I don't care. I just don't
I
care.
don't. I mean, I will say Scott Putski's gorgeous.
Right.
Gorgeous.
Right.
Great wrestler. I don't care about the storyline. Sorry.
Don't care cuz it's like half-assed. Like it's just like
Yeah, and
is
I
he, isn't he? He is, and I'm bored.
right, and I don't know if he was, and I love this. I don't know if he was they were kind of backed into this corner because Paul was just like, "Okay, you want to shoot? That's his son." Like, and just said it, and I don't know if
Correct.
it was supposed to be this like reveal or like eventual
Or if he was gonna like try
thing.
and like stand on his own 2 feet, like
Yeah, or whatever. And I hate it, but I also kind of love that Paul just blew that up. Like in an instant, which is like, okay, well, if you want to shoot, then
sounds
that guy
great.
is Jerry's son. So
Yeah,
ta-da.
love to see
I
it.
kind of serve. Love it.
So after the match, of course, Jerry and Brian gang up on Putski.
Stupid.
Um, yeah. And then Jerry grabs the mic and then goes to like interview Brian Christopher, and Brian Christopher
Oh,
gives what
girl.
is the craziest, I guess, laugh. I guess we can go with laugh.
It actually shocked me.
That
Like
I
I
have
physically
ever heard.
recoiled. I literally went like,
It sounded
it
like just like
scared
a
me.
shitty impression of the Joker. Like it was just not good. Um,
Mm-mm.
and I honestly like checked out as far as if he said anything after because
Yeah, because your brain just went kill it with fire.
yeah, I was like that's the cockroach, and it needs and like for some reason he's just putting too sexy on everything.
No, and enough of that. Enough of
Right.
that. Enough of that. But no, he made that laugh, and I immediately checked out because I was like, burn it. Ah! Like,
Mm,
I don't know what that was, but I didn't like it, and I never want to hear it again.
amen. Next, we get a promo from the Undertaker, essentially just being like, you're gonna get a slanted version of the worst night of my life. It changed my life forever, and Paul is going to try and poison your mind. He said, all I ask is that after he does whatever he does, you give me the opportunity to tell you my side of the truth.
All I wrote was, sweetie, I would never believe Paul Bearer. Don't worry about it. Like, I literally was
Don't
like,
even fret, Marie.
the
Don't
way,
even.
don't even
Mm.
worry your sweet little head about it. I would never believe Paul. You're crazy for that. You kidding?
That's
Babe,
so
it's
funny.
fine. It's fine. Shh, it's fine.
Don't you
Don't
worry your
worry.
pretty little head.
Swear. I was literally like, he was like saying this, and I was like, you, it's okay. I'm
Honey,
already there. You don't have to
right.
do this. I'm here.
I
I'm
get
clocked
it.
in. I'm ready.
Uh, so more on that later. Plenty on that later. Brian Pillman takes on Mankind in our next match. We find out that Brian Pillman was apparently fired from Shotgun Saturday for like grabbing a fan and like throwing him over the barricade and beating him up. Shouldn't you just be like fired for that? Like I'm pretty sure
Well,
you don't just get like, but whatever.
yeah, it was so weird because he's out. Brian Pillman's already out in the ring, and they're going like, Brian Pillman was fired, and I was like, so what's
Right.
he doing here? Like, I
Right.
like the way they said it made it sound like he was just, like you said, fired, period, like from everything. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
so is this the drama? Like he's not supposed to be out here, and we're about. And then they were like, then they later were like, just from doing the commentary on Shock on Saturday night or whatever he does,
Right.
announcing whatever. And I was like, oh, but like maybe just don't say like how are you fired from just like one aspect of your job? It's like that job doesn't, we're just moving you away from that part of your job. Like I don't know, the way they said it was like so
Right.
weird.
And it's not like doing that like solves the it's not like there's not gonna be fans in other
There's not gonna
places.
be fans.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like what it doesn't really solve the problem.
No, and I do feel like, and I'm not defending Brian Pillman because no, but I do feel like Shotgun Saturday lends itself to some
Mm, yes.
tomfoolery and like insanity, and like because obviously we're not airing it on TV. I mean, literally, Marlena flashed her tits one time. Like
Right.
there's some chaotic energy happening at Shotgun Saturday night. So that's, again, not defending him, but that's probably not the craziest thing that's happened there. So like I don't know, what
Right.
are we doing over there? What's going on over there at Shotgun Saturday
Yeah,
night?
yeah, yeah. Truly. Really and truly.
Weird vibes.
So we get a like pre-recorded apology, sort of, from Brian Pillman, and basically he's like, "I'm the only athlete with guts that tells it like it is," and then he goes on to be like, "I'm gonna bite mankind's good ear." Yeah, just
Mm.
some more insanity from Brian Pillman.
Mm-hmm.
So Mankind makes his way out to the ring. Once again with the pick me Steve sign. We love the energy,
Thank God.
and he comes out and he has a present for Jr. He's
So
he just
funny.
he just like drops a present in Jr.'s lap. He's like, "That's for you." Like that's he's
Open
like you.
it.
He's like, "You can open it right now," and it's like like every like other commentators are like, don't open that near me.
No,
I don't
swear.
I
Like
don't
it could
want
be
that.
anything. It could be a box of spiders. Like who
Right.
knows?
So he opens it and it is a replica like mandible claw, like with the little like cloth and everything. Like, okay.
Honestly, weird, but kind of a serve.
Right.
Like imagine like here's a replica of my hand. Like I don't
He's a
know. And
replica of the thing that hurt you.
that hurt you. It's like really,
Hmm.
it's a serve in the way that it's like psychological torture and like kind of
Right.
insane. But
Because it's
like
mankind it serves.
yes, because that's his gig. It's like
Hmm.
it's giving Silence of the Lambs, head games. Like I don't know. It's just
Hmm.
so bizarre because who would even think of
Who
that?
would
That
even?
was the last possible thing I would have ever thought would have come out of that
Right.
box. I did for 1 second go like, is it a mankind mask? Because he had done that. He like given somebody else one. I can't remember, but
Hmm.
then I thought it was just like the cloth that goes on the fingers, but it was like the whole
It was the
hand.
whole hand, yeah.
And honestly,
Like the hand from like the Addams family.
thing, right?
Yeah,
Thing.
thing.
So good. I kind of love it.
Hmm.
Kind of love it.
So while Mankind is trying to bestow this gift on JR, Pillman attacks from behind with the hand. He takes the hand and just starts hitting Mankind with it.
Also kind of a serve.
Yeah, he's like, we don't have time for this. Like, this is not what we came here to do, and I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then we get a kind of side by side interview while the match is going on with Stone Cold. And he's asked about Mankind campaigning to be his partner, and he's like, he's a smart man, but I still think he sucks. Like,
So good.
he's like,
So
he's like,
good.
I don't care about Mankind, I don't care about Sean, I don't care about much these days. But he's like, nobody is taking these tag titles away from me. So y'all can do whatever you think is gonna happen, but it's not happening. So
And
and
I
yeah,
believe him.
short, sweet, to the
Every
point.
word.
So as the match is continuing between the two, this is again very physical, very crazy because they're both nuts. So you get a lot of like throwing each other out of the ring. A lot of it was spent not in the ring. So we get Hunter and Chyna on the ramp
Mm-hmm.
because they have some comeuppance to achieve. And at one point, Pillman hits Mankind with the ring bell. So Mankind's like tied up essentially like with the referee. And Pillman just kind of like over the referee's like behind the referee's back, like over his shoulder, just nails Mankind. And and then he tries to stab Mankind with a pencil that he takes off of the announce desk, which is just absolute insanity.
It's so crazy. And how, like, the ref stopped him at like the last possible second from stabbing him in like the eyeball. Like, it was
Right.
really, I was like, oh my God. And then, like, suddenly it was like the hand just like came up
Right.
and stopped him. And I was like, it
I
was
was like, is he really about
crazy.
to get shivved? Like, that's wild.
Swear. I like Brian Pillman really like matched Mankind's freak a little bit in this
Well, if
one.
anybody's going to
It's Brian.
in the like crazy department, it's gonna be Brian.
Yeah, it's
Um,
true.
Mankind attacks Paul Pillman's legs in the corner on the ramp, not the ramp, the ring post. And of course Hunter makes his presence known. He distracts the referee. Um Pillman's like hitting Mankind with a boot, with his own boot, which
His
is
own
hilarious.
boot. Like, use the
Um
tools available to me.
Right. Hunter grabs a steel chair, accidentally hits Pillman, which is absolute insanity. And then Hunter is running away. Mankind's chasing after him. Pillman barely gets back into the ring before the 10 count, which allows which allows Pillman to be the victor via countout. Yes, we got there.
Yep. It was crazy. And then Mankind looks like absolutely outraged that he was counted out. Like, he kind of goes like, he realizes and like starts to run back to the ring, and then he's counted out and he's like, oh, well, what the hell? Like,
Right.
now
Mhm.
Steve's never gonna pick me.
Right. It's not a good showing.
No.
So next. Oh boy, next.
Girl. Oh.
So next it is Paul Bearer's big secret reveal. I don't know why I made it sound like it was like a carnival you could attend. It's not.
Pay $5 for entry.
It's like it's just like Paul Bearer's giant like
Yeah, like,
uh
swear.
anyway. So Paul Bearer has been lording the secret over the Undertaker for, I guess, like months now. I guess is
Mm-hmm.
probably accurate. And he's like, we basically have to go back 20 years.
Also,
And-
really quickly, a fan attacks him on the way out.
oh yes, I
A girl
forgot about
jumps the
that.
guardrail and literally attacks him. And I was like, I know, like me, she is
Hmm.
deeply in love with The Undertaker. Only the difference between her and I is that I'm experiencing it like 20 years after the fact.
Hmm.
But in the moment, like, I don't know. She just was taken and she was like, I must kill him.
Right.
And
She's like, I must stop this man.
and she attacked him with like all her might. Like to the point where I was like, is this real? Like, is this
she got a takedown. Like
she
did.
She took him down. And I didn't know if it was one of those moments where it's like, when Chyna just kind of like came up from the audience and like attacked Marlena. So it was so genuine that I was like, is she like a new person? Like, what is this? And it was like, nope, just a fan, just a crazy fan.
Just a crazy fan. Love to see it.
Who's in love with the Undertaker.
Amazing. So Paul basically is like, we have to go back. We got to go back a couple years. We got to go back 20 years. And he's talking about this little funeral home run by this family that he was the apprentice of. So the father was the mortician, the wife was the like secretary, and then there were two little boys, the Undertaker and Kane. Apparently they were mischievous little boys. They would get into the nonsense around the funeral home, which I can only imagine what that entails. And it is essentially put together that Paul Bearer sees the two boys like playing with matches, whatever. He's like, that's weird. I'm gonna go about my day. Goes to learn the mortuary sciences, as he puts it. And when he returns, the funeral home is on fire. And in it is the family that he has come to know and love. And he turns to a bush near him and he sees the Undertaker hiding in the bush. So Paul Bearer puts two and two together that the Undertaker started the fire and killed his family. So the big reveal is that the Undertaker is a murderer. Crazy. Absolute insanity.
Here's the problem. It didn't change my opinion about him at all. And I
love this. Go ahead, go on.
And obviously I need help, and that's okay. That's why we're here. We're a community. Please lead me into something. An intervention, psychiatric help, a padded room. Let me know.
Whatever you see fit.
Yeah. I literally was just like, okay. Like, I don't know.
What else you got?
Swear, I was like, was that it? He killed 3 people. Okay, like horrible. What a sin. But again, I was like, well, Undertaker said that that's not true. So like, let's see what actually happened. Because also, it's not like he walked in on. I'm really thinking too much about this, but it's not like he walked in on Undertaker like shooting them dead. Like house fires happen. Like I don't know. I was like, you're whatever. It seemed like a stretch, but to me, oh God, what was I gonna say? Lost my train of thought. Either way, I just was like, the gag of it is like, I was just like, okay, this is what I was gonna say. He's literally the dead man, the Undertaker. I assumed there was some sort of correlation with death. I didn't like assume he like burned his house down and murdered his family. No.
Right.
But I was like, there's got to be some sort of, I mean, literally ancient druids carried out his corpse one time. Like, I don't know. I just assume there's some connection with the death and murder and whatever at some point. So I don't know. And also this is so horrible. I was so distracted by the fact that his mouth was just so dry and filled with spit and things. It was hard for me to focus on what he was saying. But
I don't know. I didn't even notice.
I was literally just like, zeroed in.
You could not notice.
No. And I need psychiatric help because he was like, so Undertaker's a murderer. And I was like, okay.
And
that for me, I was like, okay. So
right. Yeah.
So innocent until proven guilty, Paul. Whatever.
So that is the big reveal. Which is in the grand scheme like wild if you like think about it.
I know, if you're not insane.
Like, so out of nowhere, like this whole thing, this relationship falls apart, and then he's like, and by the way, he's a like 3-time murderer. Like,
triple homicide.
right.
Yeah, you're probably right. But you know what? Okay, but it also says, why is Paul Bear still his homie then?
Right.
What does that say about you? You're saying you watched him, or you know for a fact that he burned down his family funeral home with his family still inside, and you were like, I want him on my side, which I guess it's like, I don't know, if you can't beat him, join him. Like you coached him for 20 years, like knowing he murdered his family as a child. Like it actually saying a lot of poor things about you, if we're being honest. Though I will say it does. We were just talking about this last week, how for some reason we feel that Undertaker has this like really strong, like almost moral compass. So it does for a second like throw that into doubt, where it's like, is he actually just a crazy person?
Right.
Like, is it very much American Psycho, where he seems like, well, normal for the Undertaker, but some semblance of something, and then he's actually like a psycho and just lighting houses on fire with people still inside? Like, I guess, but for me in the moment, I was just like, okay.
And
What else?
So,
but yeah, triple homicide's a little crazy now that
triple
you
homicide's
say
a little
it.
crazy. We can,
As a child too.
Right. So that's where we are with that. And next it cuts to kind of like a little backstage segment of Vader, like kind of like giving Paul Bearer like a pep talk, and you can hear Paul Bearer like over the mic just be like, I had to do it. I had to do it. Next we are given another $1 million SummerSlam chance little promo, but this time it's Sable. I kind of love this thing that they're doing with Mark Miro and Sable, where it's not in the ring. Like the story
That's very
started
true.
like just not in the ring. It's just like slowly but surely like building. Granted, I'm sure part of that is because Mark Miro has been injured, so he hasn't necessarily been in the ring. But they're definitely planting these seeds of like Mark Miro is uncomfortable with the amount of attention that Sable is getting, and for what she is getting attention for. And I love it because like it's just one, it makes sense because we've been saying this whole time that we're here for Sable, not Mark Miro.
Absolutely.
And definitely see how that would rub him the wrong way over time.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, and they have lots of they have a real life relationship with its own drama also running congruently with all of this
I'm
fun
sure.
stuff. So
yeah. I just feel like it's one of those things where it's like it's an easy story to go for. So you might as well. Like again, it's like in every moment you could be doing something to move the story forward. And like so even though Mark Miro's not wrestling, like even that little this everyone has experienced, whether personally or has seen like a relationship like this. And so it's like an easy kind of course that would go that way. Like it's easy for your brain to make that make sense.
Right.
But
no, 100%.
I will say the whiplash of 1 minute we're talking about Undertaker committing triple homicide, and the next suddenly it's Sable's tits.
Right.
It's like death and sex. They're all just right in my face.
You really get it all.
You're like, we really do it all over here on Raw's War. So crazy.
No, actually though. So next we have the Hart Foundation, Owen Hart and the British Bulldog taking on the Headbangers in another tag team championship tournament semifinal match. Again, just I love Owen and the Bulldog. Always have the best team work moves, like the best like tag team moves. They're just the most seamless. I also again big fan of the Headbangers, so you know I was really torn on this one.
Yeah, of course. Oh my god.
So we have Hitman on the phone. Bret Hart joins us after a few failed attempts. And basically he's like he's asked like why isn't he there? Like is it because Stone Cold's returning to action tonight? And he's like, I'm not scared of anybody. And then the rest of the phone call is essentially just a Canadian fan, like a love letter to the Canadian fans, as has been most of this
the
run
campaign. Yeah.
So this match ends like very quickly.
Very quickly.
Bulldog stops one of the Headbangers from jumping off the top rope by grabbing his ankle real quick. thus giving him the splits on the corner there, which allows for Owen to roll up the other headbanger right quick, gets a quick victory, and the Hart Foundation will be moving on to the finals of the tag team tournament. So it's going to be the Nation of Domination taking on the Hart Foundation. So that should be pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
At least.
I'm into that.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So what happens next
Bro. I
is
don't
so Jim
know.
Cornette, who we haven't seen in months.
Oh, I want to say like I almost said like a year. Like it's been a really long time since we've seen him.
Right. And then he's like, "Oh, you didn't think I'd be gone forever." And we were like, "Kinda."
Kind
Like
of did,
kind of
yeah.
did, because you like literally vanished without a trace, haven't seen ya,
Gone
and
girl.
literally. And then he's like, I got a new team, and he like brings them out. And it is like the Doublemint twins. Like, I don't know what this was, but like it is just two like 300 plus pound guys who they shoved into these pointy shoed costumes that I
Oh
won't
my
like
God.
just never understand. First of all, like you can make people like look like a team without literally wearing the exact same
Same
outfit, and you
clothes.
definitely shouldn't have two people wear the exact same outfit if they have the exact same face. So like help me out a little bit to like
Ugh.
distinguish the fact that these are two different people. And it looks crazy. It was like
That's
you
so
said it best.
bad.
It was the most like lethargic attack I've ever seen. Like there was no pep in that step whatsoever.
I
I will
mean,
say the only highlight is one of them did like a moonsault at the end, but I wouldn't trust either of those motherfuckers to get up there in a match scenario and
no.
do that quickly. No
No.
way. No
No, and
way.
even the moonsault was like, again, it was like asleep at the wheel. Like it kind of scared me. And the way he landed, he like knocked his own spit out of his mouth. He like kind of was like, like I was
Right.
like, oh no, we can't do this. I'm
I don't know
afraid.
what this is or what this team is going to be, but this seems very Vince. This seems very like, oh, you're big. Get in
Yeah,
there.
get in there and you're big and you look identical. Great. Identical twin tag teams of the big guys.
Right.
Woohoo. Like I just hated it. And like they
Right.
were, and I mean this so in the nicest way possible, so respectfully, they were like exhausted by the time they got to the ring. Like they
Yeah.
were already over it.
Mm,
And honestly, Jim Cornette with the whistle a la Bill Alfonso,
mm,
like,
no
right?
thanks.
I was like, he didn't have he always had the tennis racket. I don't ever remember him having a whistle. And now suddenly he was blowing that thing
Right. I was like,
like he was
whoa.
coaching Taz. Like,
Right.
what is this?
I don't
Hated
know.
it.
I don't know.
Hated it.
It was weird. It was just like, oh, hi, Jim. Oh, hi, Oompas. Like, what's
Oompa
up?
Loompa. It was Tweedledum and Tweedledee for real. And not even to say like here's my new tag team. They're the whatever. Like no introduction. It wasn't intimidating. It was like it was so weird. Zero
Hmm.
stars.
0 stars.
Zero
Now
stars.
moving on to something that will redeem us from this moment. The
Thank God.
Undertaker basically just gives us like the monologue of monologues in professional
My
wrestling.
God. It was like
Like,
Hamlet.
actually though. So it starts with him just being like, it's true. Like, and you're like, oh, it's
And I was
true.
like, is it?
Yeah.
So
So
crazy. Tell me about it.
basically he's like, my family like did die in that fire. A lot of the onus went on Kane, not gonna lie.
Mm.
So there's that. But I'm not in the grand scheme of like wrestling promos. First of all, we've never heard the Undertaker speak so much ever. Uh,
Ever.
ever. Let alone like what he gave us. Like he gave us a family history, he gave us emotion, he gave us highs, he gave us lows. I was like,
Yes.
okay, yes, sir,
Yes.
go off, go off. Love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and then he kind of like takes responsibility for the whole thing because he's like, Kane was my responsibility. So
Classic older sibling shit.
right, so it's like in part like he does feel responsible for the death of his parents. But You know, this is still early days in the storyline, let me tell you.
Oh
So
my God. I mean, okay. I felt a lot of ways about it because one, it's like, there was so much lore around the Undertaker being the dead man. He's undead. He's almost like a zombie type figure, but it's like now he's just a person. Like, obviously, he's not like just a person, but like, because he conjures the spirits of the dead, and there's this whole moment at
he's
the end
still
where
a little
he's like,
supernatural. There's
yes,
still a
he's got
little bit
that
of that.
element to him. But it was like sometime when we first started doing the show, when I was like new to wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I almost envisioned like he was dead, and then like the hand, like buried alive, like the
Right.
hand through the dirt and whatever, and like
Mm-hmm.
he. So part of me had this moment where it's like, you're like, okay, so he's just a dude. Not really, obviously,
Right,
but you
right,
have
right.
that one moment where you're like, okay, so he was a guy with parents and siblings like me, like
Right.
whatever. And it
Right.
almost like takes you out of it. And then because he's so good and the story is so good, and like obviously he isn't just a person, you kind of get like sucked back in.
Mm-hmm.
So it really took me on like a roller coaster of emotions. And like I
Right.
just feel like as far as wrestling promos go, like one, he didn't stutter, stammer, like lose his place. The story itself wasn't confusing. Like it all made sense. Like
Right.
the
And it wasn't
telling.
too long. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was long, but not where to the point where I was like, okay, like wrap it up. Like what's
No.
the point? Like, you know what I mean? It was so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And when starting with the where he's just like leaning against the wall and he's like, it's true. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh
Yeah.
my God. Like,
Fully.
oh,
Fully,
so
fully, fully.
crazy. But I will say the way that they're the way they were name dropping Kane so much,
Mm.
I was like, mm-hmm. Because it
Mm-hmm.
sounded like they were like Mary Ellen and Steve, like the Undertaker's dad. Like they didn't name them once,
Right. There's
but they
Ma
were
and
like
Pa, you know.
Kane, Mon Pa, yeah. Mim and Pim. Like, but Kane, they were like my brother Kane, Kane with the matches, Kane with the thing and the cane and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
Right. Well, his purpose purposefully named like Cain and Abel. Like,
Yes, yes,
right,
yes,
right.
yes. And I
Um,
was like, also, again, it's like that moment, it's like, okay, so Undertaker's name isn't Undertaker. You know what I mean? It's like his
no.
name isn't Dead Man. He has a real
Mm-hmm.
name and a real family and a birth
Yeah.
certificate, probably. So
Probably.
wild.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really
yeah, yeah.
crazy. But also envisioning young Undertaker. I know the story is fabricated. I'm not that crazy, but like the vision of the story he created
Mm-hmm.
where it's like young Undertaker and his brother like playing in the woods in the mountains at the funeral home and like the
So
whatever.
there is okay. I'm gonna flash forward, like whatever. So we know Kane is coming.
Yes, I did know
And
this.
so flash forward, they wrote a book about the history of Kane. So they go into like yeah. So they wrote a book about the history
I
of
love
Kane. So it
that.
goes into this whole scenario like expanded in like a
The
novel form.
expanded universe. Wait, I
It's
want to read that so
I have it.
bad.
I don't even know if I have the book anymore, but I will get another copy. It is so good. Like,
Love.
I think it's called Kane Journey into Darkness. I remember reading it.
Okay, work.
Hmm.
I'll read the crap out of that.
It was great. It was a really
Yeah.
as far as like wrestling lore, goes. They
Yeah.
had enough there to like build a story. So,
And I live for that. Like, imagine building a story out of a character for wrestling that's so good and can have such a history that you can just like keep going with it.
mhm.
I live for that. That's awesome.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So next we have what is supposed to be Rockabilly taking on Vader, which would have been, I think, hilarious just to watch. But
Absolutely.
before the match even gets underway, the Undertaker full sprints
With the
with his
coat,
with the coat like to the ring and just starts wailing on Vader.
gorgeous.
So ridiculous. Paul Bear, all the while, grabs the microphone and is just screaming murderer at the top of his lungs
It was
over and
crazy
over
because
again.
like Undertaker has him by the neck and he's like slapping him in the face and he's just going, "Tell him the truth. Tell him the truth."
Yeah.
And Paul Bear's like, I was just like, "Oh." Like
Mm.
it was crazy. Girl.
And then it is let slip that Kane is alive. That
He's like, "Kane told me."
Yeah, and he's like,
Oh,
your brother is not dead, Undertaker. He is as alive as anybody in this building right now. And the Undertaker kind of like looks at him like not like doesn't believe him, but like could that be true? Like, he's really playing it up. He's doing a great job. Like,
God.
really, really showing those acting chops. Love to
I
see it.
swear. This
Mm-hmm.
was crazy. And
Right.
this was the reveal I was like anticipating because I had said like I
Right.
feel like there's a brother. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
remember that, whatever.
Right.
But the drama of like he's slapping, he's like, tell him the truth, tell him the truth. He goes, it is the truth. Kane told me, and everyone's like, what? Like, and then he's like,
Mm-hmm.
Kane is still alive. And it's like that, again, like Undertaker's so good because you see all the emotions like playing his
Mm-hmm.
face. It's like he would be like, that can't be true, but like that would be amazing if it is, or is it amazing if it is, if he thinks that about me, or like, what does that
Mm-hmm.
mean for me? Like you just see it all in his face, and it's like, how did he do that? Like,
Right. I know.
oh
I'm
my
so
God.
excited.
It's so good. I will say this. I wish they'd done this at the end of the episode. Like I wish it had ended with this
I
instead of the
agree.
way it ended. I feel like it would have been better if it was like the Undertaker has this whole thing and then they go like his monologue and then they like go into the thing and it ends with like Kane is still
I agree.
alive.
I agree.
Cause
I
then to
agree.
go into a match after that, I was like, even though it is Stone Cold and I always love to see him, I was like,
What?
what just happened? Like I
No, I
couldn't
agree.
even focus.
No, I fully agree. I get it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to wait another week to see what goes on there. Another 2 weeks, I guess, actually, because next week is gonna be a pay-per-view.
They're
So
really not gonna talk about it on the pay-per-view. I'll kill you
I mean, they might.
all.
I don't know. I don't
Housefire.
remember this pay-per-view so much. So we'll see what they come up with. But that takes us into our main event, which is Jim Neidhart taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin. And basically the Hart Foundation is watching backstage. I love it that they always crowd them around like the smallest TV
The
in the world.
smallest TV. And then
And
meanwhile, Ken Shamrock has like his own like large space
right,
with a big
fully
TV like hanging out.
cracks me up. This was the only like actual match. Long, like
Yep.
didn't end weird, didn't end
Yep.
like with somebody's interference.
Oh, but it
Um,
did kind of.
well, it did, but it wasn't like overly short, I guess is how I want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah.
They actually like allowed them to do some wrestling.
I mean, Rockabilly was out there for not that I'm complaining, but literally 4 seconds.
Which is exactly what we were
How
like
much
hoping
I,
for.
yeah,
So
how
like,
much I wanted. So,
right. I love Billy Gunn, can't stand Rockabilly.
mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
Pass it on. Um so-
Pass it on.
like as if I'm playing telephone.
Love it.
Um so Brett, Brett turns out was not in Canada like he
Love.
lied to us about during his
Liar.
phone call. He's out here just like stroking the egos of all Canadians everywhere, and we think he's sitting pretty there. No, 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 no. He's in the building. He goes and attacks Ken Shamrock comically from behind,
It
throws him into the set, like is
was
basically
so
just
funny.
like ripping apart the Raw is War set, which is hilarious.
Like
Um,
he like threw him into like one of those like empty oil tankers they have for some
right.
reason, and Ken almost like hugged it and just like fell
Fell
backwards and let
over.
it
I was
fall
just
on
like,
him or
oh,
something. And we were like, okay,
right. Yeah. You were like, okay.
sure, Ken.
Literally. So this one is like the match itself is ridiculous. It's hard hitting because it's Jim like Neidhart, who's apparently got his nickname for being like a literal anvil
Anvil
tosser.
thrower.
I did not actually know that. I thought
I
because he
didn't
looks like a
either.
brick shit house. I had no idea it was because
Because he's shaped like an anvil.
like I thought it was just like you know what I mean? Like I thought
No, 100. I didn't think that either when they were like, yeah, he was the number one anvil tosser in Calgary. And I was like, what are you guys doing up there? And
tossing anvils.
who even I've never even seen an anvil in real life.
Right.
Y'all having competitions up
There
there?
is this hilarious skit in or like this scene in Gilmore Girls where they're sitting at the table and Lorelai is like, where did all the anvils go?
I swear to God, Lorelai.
And her father is like, oh, maybe they like burned them down, like or like melted them down, like with disuse or whatever. She's like, but they weren't designed to burn down. They were supposed to like be able to take the red hot hammer of the town blacksmith. And you're like, and you're like,
ask Will Jim. Jim can take the red hot hammer. That is
the town blacksmith. Jim, take that hammer. Ooh.
Go, Jim. That's how he got the name. Could you imagine? They were like, Jim got his name from taking the red hot. His ability to withstand the red hot hammer
of blacksmith. Notorious for his poker.
Oh my God, so
that was absolutely amazing.
So stupid.
So Jim the Anvil Tosser Neidhart gets a little help from his former tag team partner Bret Hart. He comes down and surprises everybody
in the jorts.
And what one more time?
I said in the jorts.
No, in the jorts, fully in the jorts.
He said I gotta have range of mobility, but not too much.
Yeah,
denim on the top.
Right. So Bret comes out, starts performing the figure 4 on Stone Cold and around the ring post, as he's done a few times now. Kelsey calls it though. She's like, Mankind better get his ass down here.
Swear to God, I was like, Mankind, you want to prove yourself to Stone Cold?
Now is it.
The opportunity knocks, my sweet. Get out here.
100%. And as if on cue, Mankind just like emerges and makes his presence known, hits Bret Hart with the mandible claw, and yeah, just some more chaos.
So chaotic. It was like Stone Cold is in agony in the figure 4. Bret Hart's hanging upside down, giving it to him, which I do love that he does it. I don't know why I love that move so much. It's just, it excites me. And then while Bret Hart's like upside down, Mankind just comes over and goes like hits him with the mandible claw. And then Brian Pillman comes out to try and get after Mankind for giving Bret the mandible claw. And then I forget who else came out, but they just hit him, Mankind, right with a chair. They came out and just wapa.
And the crazy thing is, like, he was still like giving Bret the mandible claw, like as he was taking chair shots. Like,
yeah, he was just like, okay. Crazy.
Love to see it.
Chaotic.
So that is the final stop on the road to the Canadian Stampede pay-per-view that we will be watching next week. And yeah, this has been another episode of the New to Wrestling podcast. It was really, really wild.
I don't know. I'm still in a state of shock. The whiplash of like Paul's reveal, then suddenly it was like we're not
something like
something else, and then it was Undertaker, and then it was like, and then it was like Kane's alive, and then it was like a jaunty little match. I don't know. I'm really like, I'm on the roller coaster, and it feels like it's King to Ka. Like I can feel the wind blowing the rails. Like I'm like, oh God, I need a Dramamine. Like I don't know. I'm gonna be pondering the void in bed tonight for sure. Like just like Kane is alive.
So crazy. As always, I'm Xavier. That's Kelsey. Thank you for joining us, finding us, liking us, commenting wherever you find us.
Thank God.
Shout out to our dear friend Crystal, who gave us a little shout out.
Oh my
because
God.
she was interviewed in a local paper online situation, and and gave us a shout out. It was so nice and kind of her to do that. We love to see it.
Yeah, we were her what she's listening to now.
So,
and I'm just so grateful. Most gorgeous, wonderful person. So grateful. Thank you.
So thank you. We love you. And
love you.
We love you all, and we will catch you next week.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.